Another letter from Milo! The flowers and rocks await your return. With snap cubes in hand, there's so much to learn. So, if you'll please bring them and do not delay, let's meet in the garden to measure and play. Milo invited us back to the garden, and he asked us to bring snap cubes with us. I guess we'd better get going. Do you think the snap cubes will shrink just like I do? Well, only one way to find out. Phew, they did shrink. Those would have been way too heavy to carry if they didn't. Oh, hey Milo! Thanks for inviting us back to your garden.
Of course! I was so excited for you to return. There is so much more to learn about measurement.
Last time, you taught us all about the ways we can measure objects. We can find out how tall something is by measuring height, how long something is by measuring length, and how heavy something is by measuring weight.
Wow, good memory. We learned a lot last time, but now we're going to practice how we measure all of those things. Did you bring those snap cubes with you?
Yeah, right here.
Thanks. Let's start with the leaf today. When we measure objects, we want to find out how many units an object takes up. A unit is what we call the object we are measuring with. When we choose units, we have to make sure all of the units are the same exact size. Snap cubes are all the exact same size, which is why they are the perfect unit to practice with. Let's start by measuring the leaf's length. That means we're going to find out how many snap cubes long it is. To do that, we start by placing a snap cube at one end of the leaf. Then we'll line up the snap cubes all the way to the other end. Notice how all of the snap cubes are touching? That's really important to make sure we're measuring correctly. Once we've filled up the length of the leaf, we can count how many snap cubes there are. 1, 2, 3, 4. This leaf is 4 cubes long.
Oh, I see. Instead of saying this leaf is long, we can measure with units to help us know exactly how long this leaf is. Now we know it is 4 snap cubes long.
Exactly. Now I think we're ready for a taller challenge.
You weren't kidding. This is a tall challenge.
My friends and I have been working all morning to measure the height of this sunflower. We started all the way at the bottom of the sunflower, and we measured right up to the tippy-top flower petal to find out how tall it is. And look, we finished just in time for your visit.
Wow, very impressive. I guess all that is left to do is count to find out how many snap cubes tall it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Whew, is that possible? That's a big number.
Yep, this sunflower is 14 snap cubes tall. That's pretty impressive. Thanks for bringing those extra snap cubes to help us measure. Our final stop in the garden today. Do you remember how we decided we can measure the rocks last time?
We talked about how we could measure how heavy they are, right?
Exactly. We can measure their weight.
But, how are we going to use snap cubes to do that?
Great question. We need snap cubes and a tool called a balance scale. To use a balance scale, we put the object we want to measure on one side, and then we gently place snap cubes on the other side until it's balanced.
Cool! Let's try it! There's 1 snap cube, 2, 3, 4. What do you think, friend? Is the scale balanced? I think so too. So, what does that mean?
That means that this pebble weighs 4 snap cubes. Great job! We can also use the balance to compare weights. If we take out these snap cubes and place another rock on the other side, watch what happens.
Interesting. This side is much lower than this side.
Exactly. The object that is lower is heavier than the object that is higher.
What an awesome tool! Thanks for inviting us back to the garden today.
Of course! Our adventure isn't quite over yet. My friends and I have been collecting data about the height, length, and weight of objects in our garden. So soon, I'm going to send you that data along with a new challenge.
Awesome! Can't wait! Thanks, Milo! Wow, friend, what an amazing time in the garden! Now we know how to use snap cubes to measure an object's height and length, and how to measure and compare an object's weight using a balance scale. I wonder if there is anything you can measure at home. Remember, in math, we can solve any problem together. You can count on it. See you next time.
Hey, hey.